Strixhaven marks the third chapter in Magic's return to web fiction. 5 main episodes, alongside 5 side chapters, released on a weekly basis to cover the overall story of the set. Just like with the previous installment, Call Time, I did a reading of each of the main chapters on my channel, and just like the previous installment, I figured I'd go ahead and give it a review, share my thoughts on the Strixhaven story itself, and what I think of the overall current state of the lore. I'm going to cut to the chase. I did not like it. I'm kind of writing this as I form my thoughts, but I can honestly say I did not enjoy a whole lot about the Strixhaven story. If you click away from this video now and only take one thing with you, just know that I really didn't like this story. I enjoyed it less than the Call Time story, which is actually impressive, all things considered. Now, just like with the last time I did a review, let me stress that what follows is just my opinions. I'm neither an author nor a quote-unquote professional critic. I'm just a fan of the magic lore, who just so happens to have an entire channel dedicated to that lore. I'm going to try to avoid getting too nitpicky with this. I'm not going to go on about how short the story was overall, because I don't believe having 5 brief chapters per expansion is inherently a bad thing. It can be done well if proper planning is put into it. It just, wasn't here. I'm also going to do my best to not pick apart the world-building aspects of Arcavios either. Let me just say that I do not enjoy the concept of a biblioplex, a big room containing every spell from across the multiverse, and we'll leave it at that. Oh, also warning, spoilers for those of you who for some reason haven't watched my story readings and are doing this one first, blah blah blah. Okay. With that big disclaimer out of the way, let me start this video off with the one good thing about the Strixhaven story. With its release, I can finally, safely declare that War of the Spark Forsaken is no longer canon. Yippee! Yeah, it's a weirdly bittersweet feeling. One of the worst magic novels is rendered null and void by an equally bad magic story. If you're wondering why I say Forsaken is no longer canon, it's because the Strixhaven story, much like the Kaldheim story before it, doesn't acknowledge even a bit of what happened in that utter clusterfuck of a novel. To elaborate, the last time we saw Liliana Vess, she had taken the new name of Anna Iora and was hanging out on Fiora with Kaya, Teo, and fucking Rat to presumably begin a new saga of interplanar Neo-Guildwatch bullshit. None of that is referenced here, in any chapter, in any form. Kaya and her friends are not mentioned or implied to exist at all, and the only hint that the events of Forsaken may have occurred is due to the lack of mentioning regarding the Chain Veil, which was given up finally in that novel. That's not much evidence, though, considering that neither the Raven Man nor his mysterious plans for Liliana are brought up at all either. No. Instead, here Liliana has taken up the name Professor Onyx in an attempt to hide from potential pursuers. It's a weird case of continuity snarl that immediately sets off red flags, the kind that say, "Attention, this story is going to blow." Hell, it's not even the only case of continuity scorn in this story. The last time we encounter Luca, his spark had just activated, and he was swearing that he would make his way back home to Drannith once again. In this story, however, Luca just doesn't ever consider going home. No, seriously, he never gives thought to just leaving Arcavios, and that might be the dumbest thing about this story. Why is he staying here? What's his reasoning for that? I'm not gonna lie, if I were a planeswalker with the option to traverse an entire multiverse at will, I wouldn't for a second consider staying on some shitty backwater world where everyone I meet is some paranoid jackass who wants to attack me. There's no good reason for it, nor is there a good reason for him to sign on with the fucking Auric. He just decides, fuck it, let's burn this place down, why not, without giving it any real thought. I mean, sure, if he did, it occurs off-screen. Kasmina makes even less sense. Despite her previously being hinted at some major important character, she barely shows up in the story at all. In fact, she tucks out the moment Luca starts putting up a real fight. I'm not joking, if you completely remove Kasmina from the story, nothing would change at all except for how the Wonder Twins end up at the Academy. Oh, and let's talk about them, shall we? Will and Rowan, aka Twiddledee and Twiddledum. Neither were truly fleshed-out characters in Wildred Quest, but their appearance there and in the flavor text of Battlebond suggested that they were basically tied at the hip and were always working really well together. Here, Here, however, Will is always agitated at everything Rowan does, and Rowan fucking hates Will's guts for no reason, taking every opportunity to act like an absolute shitboot that's on her period 24/7. Only at the end of the story, after the two learn the power of teamwork, do they start acting like normal human beings again. But before that, you'd wonder how these two were related at all to the royal scions from Wildred Quest. So much about these two goes unanswered. Chief among them is, why the fuck did Garrick leave? I cannot tell you how excited I was after reading Wildred Quest. I was looking forward to the adventures of the twins, hanging out with Garrick. When I heard they were going to be on Strixhaven alongside Liliana, I was super excited because, that sets up all sorts of interesting character interpretations and all kinds of cool interactions, but nope, he just, he's written out of the story in the first chapter, offhandedly. Furthermore, the twins' magic going fucky isn't really solved, so it's just an errant plot point that will never come up again. Speaking of shit that will never be referenced again, Will's magic ice leg. Considering it never shows up in any art, I would not be surprised one bit if it's forgotten about the next time we see these two. Hell, it's not like ᴑᵒᵐᵉ is adverse to retcons right now, right? Enough about the, heroes of our story. Let's talk about the villain, Extus, and his deal. There's nothing to say. It's not even a joke. The author gave us absolutely no fucking information on this guy, other than he was a generic evil Voldemort XP who wanted to destroy the world or something. His backstory is that he really, really wanted to be an oracle, got denied the job, and now he wants to summon the Blood Avatar. Which is fine for, a generic villain from a one-shot, but this was supposed to be the villain of the set. Supposed to be, of course. Extus seems to have taken villain classes from Tybalt, considering he dies in one of the most pathetic ways you can in the magic lore. The Blood Avatar was an even bigger letdown. I kinda suspected it back when the token was revealed without the fancy legendary creature type, but Extus's big plan, the goal he was working toward for years, turns out to be a stupid big monster that's defeated by a spell briefly showcased during the not Quidditch match. Something Strixhaven is mostly a shitty Harry Potter ripoff, blah blah blah, Extus is Voldemort, something Auric Death Eaters. Moving on. None of the characters have satisfying conclusions in this story. Extus dies. Luca just wiping his ass with leaves for some reason, I guess. The twins no closer to answers regarding their spark or their powers than they were when the story began. Liliana. Okay, well, she has some off-screen character development, I guess, and now she's given up on trying to revive Gideon for reasons? Oh, and she dropped the fake name. For reasons. Some people seem to take this as Liliana, quote, accepting who she is, end quote, or some other stupid insipid shit, but let me shut that down real quick. She didn't change her name because she wasn't confident in who she was. Liliana is a wanted woman who helped kill thousands of innocent people. There are likely several planeswalkers out there right now who would love nothing more than to hunt her down and kill her, and taking a fake name was, surprise, a good first step at not having a giant arrow on her back. What's going to happen when the twins do finally regroup with Garrick? They're going to tell him all about the wonderful adventures they had on Arcavios, and all about this lovely necromancer, planeswalker professor they have named Liliana Vess. So, whatever. Congratulations, ᴑᴒᵐᵉ, you gave me a fight to look forward to. Alright, there's just a few other things I'll go over quick, just some unanswered questions, really. Why did Liliana just drop her whole Revive Gideon subplot? Why doesn't Liliana kill Extus the moment she saw him? No, seriously, we see her just remove one of the Auric dude's souls with her willpower alone. Why not do that to the main villain? What's up with the snarl? Is it basically the Phoenix Force? It certainly seemed to behave like it, in regards to Rowan. That's really all I've got in me, okay? Like I said before, I was writing the script as I went, and I'm not at all surprised I couldn't find something positive to say. I suppose I'll reward this Strixhaven story, and it's not the worst magic story out there, out of 5, and call it a day. Alright, with all that said and done, I'll use the end of the video as an announcement space. First off, most likely, welcome to the channel. According to analytics, over the last month or so, I've gotten over 200 new subscribers and over 1,000 new viewers. That's awesome, but I also have some bad news. You see, to put it bluntly, Strixhaven was bad. Real bad, for me especially. I got basically no joy out of reading the stories, and recording them for the channel felt more like a chore than basically anything I've ever uploaded. It didn't help that some technical difficulties erased well over a week or so's worth of script writing and video ideas. Yeah, seriously, it's no coincidence that it's been nearly 3 weeks since my last non-story upload. A lot of what I was working on was just deleted, so in addition to that frustration, I had to deal with a Strixhaven story being much, much less than what I had hoped for. It's not all bad. A lot of you very clearly enjoyed the Strixhaven story and seemed really excited when I uploaded these videos. But I've got to say that it's, that's it for me. Going forward, unless the quality improves immensely, I'll not be reading any more of the new web fiction on this channel. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to be reading any stories. In fact, we have 30 years of stories for me to read on this channel. Stories that I'm actually really fond of and I'm looking forward to recording for you all. So, if Storytime with Uncle Loreseeker is the only reason you're subscribed, fear not. I'll totally still be doing them. I just won't be covering much of the new stuff until WotC gets their shit together. Next, I suppose I'll elaborate some more on some troubles I've been having. Not once, but twice, problems with my operating system have caused me to lose a lot of progress I've made on recent projects, with the one most affected being the Weatherlight Saga series of videos I have planned for you all. I just want to say, yes, it's still happening, you just might not see any videos on it until, well, I don't know. All things considered, I don't want to make any promises. But I'm really, really hoping that I can get these finished and ready for all of you to see by the end of May. Fingers crossed, people. One last sorta kinda announcement. I've been working on this channel now for nearly 2 years, and I've put some thought into whether or not to set up a Patreon. If I did, it would just give me a bit more peace of mind and allow me to dedicate a bit more time to the channel, making videos and so on. I'm still not sure if I even want to do it, which is why I figured I'd ask all of you, my viewers, if you'd be at all interested in supporting me financially. Let me be clear. I have no intention whatsoever of making any content exclusive to patrons, since I'm against the idea of paywalling content, in general. It would just be a way to get some stability out of the channel. Let me know what you think below. Also below, let me know what you think of Strixhaven Story. Do you agree with me? Do you think it was bad? Or do you think Uncle Loreseeker is just a grumpy robot and he needs to take his meds? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.